Hi, thanks for joining us today for Get That House. My name is Barbara Irwin, and I'm the owner, broker of LVNV Homes and Land. And I have my
Your go-go girl, Dawn Weaver, Old Republic Title.
And today we have a guest, and he's going to be talking to us about student loan elimination. Why don't you tell us who you are?
My name is Ryan Arisumi, and I work at studentloanelimination.net.
Very cool. So why don't we just jump in, and can you tell us a little bit about how the program works? Like, say I'm applying for a loan, and my loan officer says your debt ratios are way off, and anybody looking to buy a home, they know all about this. They can contact you, and how can you help them?
So first, what we do is there's 14 different student loan forgiveness plans that's provided by the federal government.
Oh, wow.
And we find the best fit for the individual or for the client to see which one they would qualify for, because not everyone can qualify for any one of the 14 programs there. So like one's like a disability one, so if you're not disabled, you're not going to qualify. So, but there's 14 different programs, and there are also a lot of other student loan forgiveness companies out there who are doing this and charging their clients for processing fees and whatnot. But what they don't tell you is when the loan is forgiven, you have a 1099 coming your way. So
For the balance of the loan amount.
Okay, so a 1099-C is a cancellation of debt. So when you go to file your taxes, it's going to count as income.
Yep.
It'll count as an income towards you because it's a forgiveness of that debt.
Right. So how can you get around that?
So what we do is first we find the forgiveness plan that the client will qualify for, and then in correlation to that, we set up a custom savings plan so that you can put money away that'll grow with higher interest, and it'll grow in your favor, so that at the end of your forgiveness term, you have that liquid money to pull out and pay off your debt.
And pay off the debt. Mm-hmm. And how long is the term normally?
Between 10 and 20 years.
Wow. So say I came to you and I have like $300. Well, I'll use one of my friends as an example. She told me she had $700 a month in student loans, and it's hers and her daughter's. So how would you be able to help her? She's a teacher too.
Okay, so I guess before we dive into this, there's a little bit of history that might help everyone understand student loans and how we got to where we are.
Okay,
so
cool.
Currently there's over $1.5 trillion in student loan debt floating around in the United States.
That's a lot.
Yep.
And if we refer back to what happened with the housing bubble in 2008, in 2008 there was 1.3 trillion in unsecured mortgages. So basically we are past that threshold. Also in 2008 there was a 13% default rate, so people are not paying back their mortgages. In 2018, with the student loan crisis, it's actually a crisis. There is 18% in default and 33% in deferral or forbearance. So
I know, knowing that you were going to come on the show, I actually looked for a few articles, and they said that this year is one of the hardest hit years for student loans.
Yeah. And what happened in 2008, Sallie Mae, Freddie Mac, all those companies were put in charge by the government to manage all these mortgages. Well, right now, Sallie Mae was in charge of student loans, and they just sold off their debt to Navient, which is now one of the largest student loan providers in America.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And the average student loan, so there's about 44 million Americans with a student loan. That's 1 in 3 Americans. The average debt is $30,000, and the average interest rate is 6%.
Wow.
Now,
that's a lot.
Student loan interest rates amortize daily.
Right.
So
they compound daily on the average balance.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about it, it's a lot worse than 18%
Then 18% credit card debt. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like somebody came in the other day, I was sitting with you, and they started with quite a large sum of a student loan, and they said their balance, what they thought was their balance, and they were 30,000 under what their balance was because they were in deferment.
Under or over?
So they guessed it was the
They guessed it was less.
220.
Yeah, and it was actually like 260.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
264,000.
how does it work when somebody puts their loan on deferment?
So,
It still gains interest.
Right, and then it's just added to the back end.
Yeah.
So it's constantly ballooning, and it keeps adding and keeps adding and keeps adding, and then you go to order your payoff, much like a normal balloon payment, or if you will, you go to order the payoff, and then it's inflated by that amount because you've deferred it you've taken it and gone over to the back end of the loan.
right. And in reference to like a credit card debt, you have what's called a truth in lending.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you have a $10,000 balance, your minimum payment is $200, and truth in lending says if you pay $200 a month, it'll take you X amount of months to pay it off.
Mm-hmm.
Well, student loans, there isn't that truth in
There's
lending.
no
So they
tell.
don't have to disclose anything. They can
Right.
do whatever
so
they
if let's say you have like a $30,000 student loan and your payment is, let's say, $100 or $150 a month or $300 a month, they don't tell you how long, if you keep paying $300 a month, how long it's going to take you to pay it off.
Wow.
Right.
So when we put you on a forgiveness plan, we start like a time clock. So if it's a 20-year plan, we take your balance, your interest rate, and we compound the interest like a mortgage over 20 years and see what the ending balance is, and then we adjust your payment.
According-
That's
Oh,
like
okay.
a mortgage, right?
So that comes to the point where how you can help an actual home buyer, because they're going in with, say, a $700 payment, and you can most likely, not guaranteed, but most likely get their
Yeah.
payment down quite a bit.
So there's one forgiveness plan called income-driven repayment plan, and basically the federal government will analyze your income, and not the IRS, no, the federal government or Department of Education will look at your balance, your interest rate, and look at your income, and based on your income, come up with a number that you think you can pay back. So let's say you have $700 paying a month, and you're only making, I don't know, $40,000 a year. You know, obviously those numbers
don't match.
But when you submit the income-driven repayment plan paperwork, the Department of Education, all right, well, obviously you can't pay it, so we're going to reduce your monthly payment to zero. So you pay zero for 20 years.
But like in a loan situation, we have to have a payment. So they would
Right.
assign like a $5 payment or
Yeah.
something. Okay.
And then we can send it back to them and say, okay, instead of a zero, I like to pay $5 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what happens is, so you're paying $5 a month over 20 years, and that's $1,200, and your loan is $30,000. That grows to $99,000. They take the $99,000 minus the $1,200 that you paid, and then they send you a 1099-C for the difference.
And that's the cancellation.
That's
That's
the
why the
cancellation.
savings plan.
Right.
Mhm.
So if you're making $50,000 a year and you get that 1099 for $98,000, that year you made
That-
$140,000.
Wow.
And,
Yeah, that's
and-
craziness.
and let's say you're paying 10% taxes at 50 grand, but now you got to pay 20% off 150. So a lot of people don't have that money, and what happens is if you don't pay off your student loan, you get what do they call it? You get your credit's bad, whatever.
Right.
But when the IRS comes and you don't pay your IRS tax, then they throw out words like search and seizure.
Yeah, they try and
garnishment.
scare you out of
Yeah.
it
Prison
because
time.
it follows you forever.
Right.
Well, we're running out of time, so if someone wanted to contact you for your services, how would they reach you?
808-306-9169 is my cell phone number, or my email address is ryan.arisumi@gmail.com.
Okay, and if they wanted to schedule an appointment, they can actually go online?
Go onto the website www.studentloanelimination.net.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Um,
Dawn Weaver, Old Republic title.
Barbara Irwin, LVNV Homes and Land, and we'll be back in just a few minutes to start a new segment.